cable. When they got power online, 26 October 1936, they were able to send it directly to LA because the overhead cable was provided by Massachusetts.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
North Carolina, 120 employees. Furniture for the dining facility. They had to be able to feed 1,500 employees, one shift. And so they would feed them and send them right to work. That came out of North Carolina, and work clothing.
Have a great day. Thanks.
It was funded with the Boulder Canyon Project Act of 1928. It funded $165 million, the largest legislation to that day. $70 million for the dam, $38.2 million for the power plant, $38.5 million for the All-American Canal down by Yuma, Arizona, $17.7 million for the interest. The power plant paid it all back on a 50-year loan. Last payment, May 31st, 1987. Power plant makes us one of the few self-sustaining government agencies in the United States. That didn't impress you. Let me try it this way. Yeah, your tax money doesn't pay for this facility, folks. Help me out. Oh, this is a tough crowd, man. It's going to be a long hour. Okay, yeah. So it was really, it set the blueprint on how reclamation was going to do business in the future. Anytime they put a dam out there, they were going to piggyback it with a power plant. What do you need to run hydroelectric power? Water. What don't we have? Water. So you're not going to see all the generators on at this time. To meet contractual obligations downriver, we're making less power now, so how do we do that? We move the water for the contractual obligations during peak power hours, between 5 and 10 o'clock at night. You can sell it at a higher premium, keeping us self-sustaining. Okay? So let's get that out of the way right now. It was built for 5 reasons, mostly about what? Flood control, dictating rate of flow downriver, storage, Lake Mead, largest storage pond in America, irrigation. 1/3 of the nation's produce is irrigated with this water in Southern California and the Imperial Valley. About 40 million people drink from it. So usage goes up, and you have a 25-year drought, you get to see the residual of that behind the dam. We're in emergency contingency. 1,075 above sea level is the marker for that, and we're at 1,073.98 above sea level effective this morning. But that's got to be on January 1, so we're operating in emergency contingency for this year. So we've got a good snow and rain up in the Western Rockies, a little bit above average, so we'll see how that plays out. I don't do predictions, folks. I am not a hydrologist. I'm not a climatologist. I am a tourologist. Okay, so don't ask me for predictions. Look at usbr.gov. It's really a toxic subject, and people get really damn emotional about it. So we stay away from it. I'm sorry, okay? But that's the best I can do for you. With that said, 4, navigation, known and fixed point on your surface. It became a natural bridge over the Colorado River. Didn't have a lot of those in the 30s and 40s. And power. Power's sexy. Power pays the bills. Power sells a lot of tickets. But it became strategic. So 3 times this place has been closed for tourism for extended periods of time. World War II, 9/11, COVID. World War II, look at the second tower from the right on a dam, look straight up. There's a bunker up there. It's a friendly reminder of how important this dam was during World War II. The power between here and Green Coulee provided almost 50% of the power used for the war effort in the Western United States. I did not know that until I worked here. That's a nugget right there. So the bunker up there, that was a fortified position. There were 3 Hasties out here. If you were not where you're supposed to be during World War II, they were going to light you up. And they didn't get second guessed back then. Yeah, 9/11, Highway 93 used to be over the top of the Hoover Dam. The most direct route from Vegas to Kingman, over the dam. When 9/11 hit, they shut down all traffic over the dam for a period of 2 to 3 months. When they opened it up, they did not open it up to commercial traffic, 18-wheelers and such. So it took them 9 years to plan, coordinate, conduct, impact study, finance, and build that bridge. October 22nd, 2010 is when the bridge went in, and about 9 years later, they got the bypass in. All right, any questions? You guys are awesome. So, yeah, that's great. Eno, I believe Eno's going to, are you doing this one, Eno? Yes. Okay, Eno's going to be doing the first half of your tour. I'll do the second half. If you get questions, write them down. Don't be ashamed, ask me. There are no dumb questions. The craziest one I ever did get was, are the light bulbs original? Yeah, down there. I did. That was the craziest one I've ever had. Wasn't a dumb question, it was just an odd question. That's how I'll say that. But yeah. No. No. We have to stay compliant here at Hoover Dam.
Are they LED?
I don't know. There are some things I won't know, and that's one of them. I'm sure they are, but whatever. Ask me how the dam's built. Eno's in charge. I'll see you in 30 minutes, folks.
Thanks, brother.
All right. Am I in charge?
You're in charge.
Get in. I'm a man of many words. That's the best way to get escape. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to Hoover Dam. Like JR said, my name is Eno. I'm going to be doing the power plant portion of your tour. So to get our tour started, we are descending down right now 537 feet.
Yes.
Or 54-story building,
Yeah.
or 164 meters, or basically a minute and 10 seconds of standing there looking at me. And JR. Now once we get down below, we're going to be completely surrounded by very old volcanic rock. How old? 13 million years old. And that water weeping out of the rock is natural spring water. There's a lot of natural springs down there. So the natural springs seep off of the rocks. We collect them on those water channels that you'll see to the left and right of the walkways. We send that water right back out the river. That's how we keep those walkways nice and dry for all the visitors throughout the year. Speaking of walkway, you're going to be following me on one of them into one of the original diversion tunnels, the Inner Nevada one, and I'll explain to you guys, I'll illustrate to you how they use all 4 of those massive tunnels to build a dam. Second stop will be to the power plant. Check out those generators. Now you guys are in luck because today generator number 3 or Nevada 3 has been dismantled for repair maintenance. So you guys actually see the rotor pulled out of that generator for the first time in many, many, many years, right? If you got cameras, take all the damn pictures you want. Follow me to your right.
See you guys upstairs. Have fun.
There you go, that's a question for the day.
Down those steps and go right down to the roof down below and check out the view from the left. Right this way, guys. Straight ahead. Go straight down those steps.
What is that? Yeah.
That's a diversion tunnel. They diverted water. Had 4 of them. They diverted water so that the riverbed will be dry. They could do the construction. Had to get the water out of the river first.
They still use them?
Hmm?
All right. Let me come up here to the front and give you guys a better explanation of where we are and what you're looking at. A couple other things. Then we'll continue on. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, Good afternoon. For those of you that did not ride on my elevator coming down here, my name is Eno, and I'm going to be your guide for this stop and the next 2 stops. So before I start this 4-minute presentation, I'm going to give you guys a quick orientation to show you exactly where you are. So we start upstairs in the visitor center. We rode that elevator 70 seconds, and then we landed right here, and we walked right inside this particular diversion town. So approximately 537 feet below the Earth's surface in this part of the world, there are 4 parallel diversion towns. There are 2 in the Nevada Canyon Walls-Side River, and there are 2 in the Arizona Canyon Walls-Side River. We are standing inside the inner Nevada diversion town. So all these towns are 5 stories tall. It's hard to believe that, but this building is sitting on top of a 30-foot diameter penstock pipe. That pipe just took a sneak peek out at our left window is actually 3 stories tall. And it's moving water from the lake in that direction, making its way to the canyon walls underneath this building towards the power plant to your left. So that pipe is 30 feet tall, and we have another 20 feet of clearance to the top. So that makes this tunnel 5 stories tall, like all the other tunnels. But we are standing in the middle of this 1-mile-long tunnel right here. So back in the 1930s, when they decided to build the Hoover Dam right here between the Black Canyon Walls and the Colorado River, before they could start construction of this project, they had to do a couple things. First, they went upstream about a half a mile where the dam stands today. They picked spots against the Black Canyon Walls in Nevada, Arizona, roughly 12 feet higher than the river's edge. And then by using nearly 5 million pounds of dynamite, started blasting these big diversion tunnels. 2 of these tunnels went into the Nevada Canyon Walls side of the river, and again, you guys are standing right at this one. And the other 2 went into the Arizona Canyon Walls side. Now these tunnels went into the rocks, stayed in the rocks about 4,000 feet, and out downstream. And the idea was to divert the Colorado River into these diversion tunnels to move that water around the construction site so we can get it dry so we can build this dam. But how do you do that when the natural flow of the river continues between the canyon walls? Well, the answer were cofferdams. And you guys saw these in the movie upstairs, but they actually had 2 cofferdams on site. They had a 100 feet tall upper cofferdam constructed just behind the entrances to the diversion tunnels. Then they had a 60 feet tall lower cofferdam downstream. Now, cofferdams consist of rock, dirt, chunks of concrete. When they were piled high enough and thick enough and spanned the entire width of the Colorado River, then as the river is going from north to south, it would bounce off of it and be naturally redirected into the nearest open diversion tunnel to move that water around the construction site. Now, that lower cofferdam, its only job really was to prevent any backwash or backflow of the Colorado River from reaching the side as well. Then they went back where the Hoover Dam stands today. And a 16-ton bucket of concrete or an 8 cubic yard bucket of concrete was then delivered approximately every 78 seconds, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, non-stop for 2 straight years, day and night, until they built the dam. All in total, when it was said and done, that is 6.6 million tons of solid concrete went into building Hoover Dam. Or, you could say today, there's enough concrete at Hoover Dam to build a 2-lane highway from San Francisco to New York City. Now, once the dam was finished, they went back upstream and they closed each of the diversion tunnels. And once they did that, the river had no choice but to eventually come up and over the cofferdam and started filling Lake Mead. And that took about 6.5 years to completely fill, from 1935 to 1941. And today, Lake Mead still remains the largest man-made reservoir in the United States. Now, the same time Lake Mead was filling up, the workers came from the backsides of these diversion tunnels, about midway to all the tunnels, and they installed what we now call these diversion tunnel plugs. A diversion tunnel plug is a 405 feet thick concrete plug. Once installed, water will never ever pass through those sections again. So from 1935 and forever, the first half of these diversion tunnels are now completely sealed and under about 400 feet of water that's on the lake today. However, the latter halves of these diversion tunnels, just past the plugs, these tunnels are still in use even today. The 2 on the outside are now linked to these massive spillways, where there's Nevada, Arizona spillway. You'll see these spillways when you're walking on top of the dam today. These spillways are our safety mechanisms in case of flooding. If there's ever a time there's too much water in the lake, and that happened in 1941 and 83, water will then overflow from the lake right into the spillway. Just like this actual photo here from 1983, showing the Nevada spillway in action. In fact, in 1983, there was so much water coming down the Colorado River, it filled all the lakes, including Lake Mead, and went over the spillways for 63 consecutive days, from August to September that year. And that's both the Nevada side and Arizona side of the spillway. But that water continued down for 63 days, reconnecting with that existing diversion tunnel down below on the other side, and that water just simply shot past the dam for the safety of the power plant. Folks, that's the key word here, the safety of the power plant. Here at Hoover Dam, you will never see water come over the top of the dam. Three very simple reasons. First, we have 17 magnificent generators producing electricity. Electricity and water do not mix. Second, we have many, many workers here working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week that we have to protect. And at any given time during the day, we have what we call visitors that we want to keep dry. Right? Now, what keeps the water from coming over the top of the dam? It's those spillways. Those spillways are in the lake, located in front of the dam, and they're 27 feet below the top of the dam. So water will always go into the spillway first before the top of the dam, right? Just like your bathtub. Water will go into the drain before it comes over the edge. Now, the two inner diversion towers are linked with the intake towers. Intake towers are those four big concrete structures that you see when you're on top of the dam today, looking towards the lake. In this picture, there they are. Those intake towers in the lake are 395 feet tall. And connected to the bottom of each one of them are these 30-foot diameter penstock pipes. They're actively moving water right now from the lake down to the power plant to spin the turbines to make electricity. And if you forgot what I said when you first came in, that is that big massive pipe that you were just staring at. That pipe is penstock pipes coming from intake towers in the lake, making its way to the canyon walls underneath this building towards the power plant building. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to talk about the power plant because that's our next stop. So let's go ahead and just follow me, and we'll I'll lead the way. Stay in line with your friends and family, please, so you can stay in the same elevator. You notice that humming down below, the vibration? That means there's water pumping to this.
Nice and cool.
Are you part of this family?
No.
Okay, you guys go that way. Give you guys an elbow room. You guys will be riding out with that. outside those windows, the Colorado River. To the left of that is the Arizona wing of the power plant. So there are 17 commercial generators out here. There are 9 in Arizona, there are 8 here in Nevada. But if you're already counting the generator lights and the numbers on top of the generators here, you're only going to count 7. And that's correct, because generator number 3, Nevada 3, has been dismantled for repair and maintenance. That's why when you look in the numbers on top of the generators, you'll see the first one has N1, Nevada number 1 generator. N2, blank, that gap represents the missing rotor. So if you look over the rails in front of you, below you on the floor, you're going to see the rotor that came out of Nevada 3. The first thing that jets out at you is that 65-foot tall stainless steel shaft. That shaft alone weighs 114 tons, 38 inches around. If you can just imagine, 40 feet below the floor of this rotor, there's a Francis impulse turbine, a horizontal stainless water wheel. It is receiving water from that big penstock pipe you were just standing on top of ago, water from that penstock pipe is hitting that water wheel down below at about 50 miles an hour, spinning it. Then that turbine would then turn the shaft. The shaft is connected to the rotor. We start spinning at about 180 revolutions per minute. If you look at the very first generator, see that little lit area right in the center? That is the shaft running right now because there's water underneath it pushing it. So then that will spin this big rotor. This rotor has about 44-ton electromagnets. Those are those brown poles. Now, when those start spinning inside the stator, like that first generator, that stator on the red drum has 5.5 miles of stationary power motors. That can spin excites electrons, makes electricity. 16 feet of each one. So from that exciter panel on top of that line on top to the floor is 30 feet. There's another 40 feet of generator below the floor. If there is a light on top of a generator, that indicates that generator is currently online and is producing power right now. And if you look straight down the road, the first one right now online here in Nevada Power Plant happens to be N1, Nevada 1, followed by Nevada 5. When they're online, like N1 and N5, they produce 130 megawatts of power each. When combined, all 17 generators produce upwards of 2,000 megawatts of power. That's roughly enough electricity to buy 2 million homes. Now, 56% of electricity we generate here on an annual basis does go to Southern California, our biggest customer. And then the rest is almost equally divided between Southern Nevada and Arizona. Now, a very common question I get here, people ask me, do these big generators provide electricity that runs these lights or elevators, my microphone? Answer is actually no. Here at Hoover Dam, we have our own internal power source. If you look down below on the floor inside that silver metal railing, you're going to see that rust-colored piece of equipment. That is actually a Pelton water wheel generator. It's a vertical water wheel. It produces 2.4 megawatts of what we call in-house power. So that is a generator that produces all the electricity for the Hoover Dam, the power plant, visitor center, cafe, gift shop, garage, anything Hoover Dam related, that is our internal power source. And we have two of them because, as you can imagine, they have to be running 24/7. So by having two, this one and its sister in Arizona, they can always run one and rest or maintain the other. Now the next big monster I'm going to point out is a little bit higher in our field of vision. If you look towards the ceiling just above that number 2 generator, you're going to see the first of two original Powling and Harfschnegger or P&H bridge cranes from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I say first of two because the first one there has the American flag draped on it. The second one is parked behind it above the number 6 generator. So these bridge cranes both span the width of the room. They both ride on tracks to run the entire length of this power plant. Each of these bridge cranes up here can lift 300 tons. To give you an example how much lifting capacity that is, well, let's think of the Statue of Liberty in New York City Harbor. She weighs 225 tons. So that means just one of these bridge cranes alone can easily lift her off the ground. But why do we have 2 bridge cranes here? Well, the answer lies again over the rails below us on the floor. When that rotor assembly down below is fully assembled, it's going to weigh close to 580 tons. So we actually have to always combine both of these bridge cranes together to form what we call here at the Hoover Dam the super crane. So we can be able to lift this rotor down below and assemble, or any other rotor in and out of these generator assemblies for repair and maintenance as needed. Now the next thing I want to bring your attention to is actually behind everybody on the rails. If you follow my arm up this big wall right here, you are staring at the Hoover Dam. Yes, some of you are going to be walking right through it pretty soon. Some of you on top of it as well. This Hoover Dam is 726 feet tall. It's taller than a 70-story building. The crest length at the top is 1,244 feet long, just shy of a quarter mile, spanning the states of Nevada with Arizona. The top of the dam is 45 feet wide. That is the road. But just as impressive is the thickness of the base of the dam below us. The base of Hoover Dam, 660 feet thick. To give you an idea exactly how much concrete that really is, well, let's take a look at this wall again right here. Then turn your heads completely around and look at that far wall past the generators down there. I know it's a little deceiving, but that's the length of 2 American football fields end to end, 650 feet. So you'd still have to add another 10 more feet the length of this room. Fill this room with concrete from top to bottom, and that would then equal the thickness of the base of Hoover Dam below me right here towards Lake Mead in that direction. Folks, I'm going to remind you, this dam was designed to last between 2,000 to 3,000 years. But today, its very important job, its only job, is to contain the largest man-made reservoir in the United States, and that is Lake Mead. 450 feet of solid concrete in that direction from where we're standing here in the balcony. All right, so that completes this presentation. There's quite a few of you, those red, white, and blue wristbands. Wristbands, please raise up your hand. Go straight to JR. Show JR those wristbands. He'll continue your tour. Yeah, it's parallel. It's parallel. It's up the ground, and it's about 150 yards. Yeah. Yeah. Small shaft.
I'll see you later. 29, I'm good. All right. So you just completed the power plant presentation. Any questions on the power plant presentation?
How long does it take to reimburse that again?
That one right out there, they completely broke it down. They welded the armatures 29 months. And then when they put it back in last month, the brakes weren't working, so they had to pull it back out. They're working on the brakes now. When they get those done, they'll put it back in, get it operational.
What's the typical life?
They're still original. Yeah, the only thing, now in 1984 to 91, they did replace the Francis reactive turbines. GE got that contract. They were a cast steel, and that's the engine. That's where the water slams into it. They're a cast steel. They weigh about 32 tons each, and they tweaked the design on those. They're a cast stainless now, and they replaced the stator coils inside. Those are the copper windings inside that red portion of the generator. That's where the magnet spins inside, excites those electrons, makes the electricity. By doing that, they were able to push 50 more megawatts. And by doing that, that was an upgrade, and they've done cost benefit analysis on upgrades now. Not worth it. Now, any others? That was the ventilation shaft, so not a big priority.
Okay.
If there were rusting on like the pinstock pipe, that would be an issue. But like on a ventilation pipe, compared to this, what's going on out here, they're not worried about it.
I have a question. What type of impact does it have with that one generator being down on just the whole operation?
Okay, really minimal, because they were very seldom with the water levels where they're at. Very seldom are we full tilt. Yeah. So because the water levels are reduced, we only have minimal amount. You can see only one or two generators going on the Nevada side. So again, when they're making power, because of the reduced water levels, it's reduced head pressure, so the efficiency is minimized on there. I couldn't even tell you, they can generate up to 130 megawatts each. It's more like 75 to 80 right now, what they're pushing. So how do they do that and stay self-sustaining? They move that water for contractual obligations between 5 and 10 o'clock at night. So you'll see most of them ramped up in the evening, but having one offline, not a big deal.
So do each number supply a different area?
No, ma'am, they used to. When they first put them online, they were manually operated, they were assigned a grid. And that's why we have an odd number. On the other side, we got Arizona 8 and Arizona 9. All of them are 115,000 horse generators. The two on the end, 70,000, and one is 55,000 horse. Those were assigned Kingman and Boulder City. But now they can pool them, put them right into the grid, and disperse electronically.
Are you discharging any water that's not used for power generation? Or,
No.
oh, okay. So
Yeah, we don't waste it like that. So when they move it downriver for contractual obligations, they will make electricity
Okay.
with it. Got a tickle in my throat. It's dusty. So the Art Deco, the terrazzo is lined with aluminum to accentuate the aluminum doors. Aluminum to us, recyclable product. Aluminum in the 30s, precious metal. A staple of the Art Deco era. Cage doors, solid aluminum doors, light fixtures are all aluminum. What made them unique and advantageous, they didn't rust next to the river. Yeah. Now, Alan Tupper True, all the inlays, he did all those. And he worked with the interior designers down here to give it that Art Deco appearance. He took Southwest Native American pottery art, more specifically from the Pima-Niacoma tribes, and he infused that into the Art Deco. And this is my favorite inlay. This is symbolic of the rotor spinning inside the stator, exciting the electricity out the side. And ever so subtly, you have two lines going down the hallway, and the dam represents the cable taking the power to its destination. Yeah, everything has meaning here, folks. Once you enter these doors, you're inside the Hoover Dam. So they came through here and they saw that terracotta tile. It was absolutely stunning. Just under 19,000 pieces cover this. They saw the terrazzo and 7 inlays, and all the inlays are great. The dam was designed in a way to allow seepage to pass through. We'll talk about that in a little bit. These grates were supposed to capture that seepage. Terracotta tile sealed everything out. What they didn't capture was the rich women's heels. Yeah, I always get the head nod on that, yeah. So to save the stilettos, if you will, they plugged with concrete, and that's why they have the appearance they do today. This is a fun fact. This is a fun fact. This is a true story. Just before COVID happened, I had a gentleman on my tour that did a tour here in 1938. And I wanted to know if the information I was given him was true. And I asked him, were you rich? You know, were you wealthy? And he said, no, not at all. But my parents were loaded. He was a very engaging fellow.
That's funny.
In yellow. If you were over 5 feet 11, you will figure it out. Yeah. And so we're going to go up there. You guys came to see the concrete. We are going to show you concrete. Yeah, lots of concrete. It's the consummate man cave. But Hoover Dam is an arch gravity dam. The arch takes a force, weight, and energy, transfers it into the retaining walls. Gravity, weighted concrete, 6.6 million tons, holds it down. They didn't use any rebar in the dam. Why? Rust was a consideration. There's another reason. Earthquake activity. Yep, sorry to tell you that down here. But we had to get your money first, folks. Yeah, typical government operation. That's how we roll. But yeah, we did 3.0 or less down here, and I got Miss RC here. I'm going to take the first half of you up. Second half, we'll come up with Miss RC. I got 29.
Can you push forward for me, please?
You got the other foot right.
Good job. You are a damn elevator operator. A damn good
Walk
one.
on the top there.
It's 53 cents an hour. They gave us a raise. Used to be 50 cents. And we get 2 days off a week now, not a year. Did they tell you what those 2 days were that they had off back when they were building the dam? 2 holidays. Take a guess. Christmas is one.
The New Year or Easter? July
No.
4th of July.
Yes.
Or July. I wrote this again.
Yes. Now it's Christmas and Thanksgiving. We close those 2 days. You can come. You can walk on top of the dam, or you cannot go on a tour. All right, guys. So when we get to the 4th floor, you're gonna exit the elevator, and then you're gonna go to the right. Just remember, wash your hands. You guys are okay. Cool. Right this way.
Come on down, guys. Down on the right. Come back on the right. We don't have a lot of time, so snap and go. No pun. Snap and go.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's curved. That's what's weird, you know what?
We have perfect storm on this. We wanted to see how what parts of reaction are like. So we're going to show you some of that stuff. They put pine wood on the side where they build a heat and wash drainage. Every other column is built with wood form. The columns between them are what we call wood form.
I'm sorry.
As those short, they contract and they left the seam. Now that's an exaggeration by scale, but what happened was they had to deal with that. The cutouts you walk by, that's where they have the grouting tubs. And they have tubing that would allow them high pressure to grout those seams at approximately 300 psi. And the vertical gallery to nowhere is about 75 feet. You notice I don't tell anybody until everyone's back. Yeah. That allowed them to go down there 75 feet, route those seams at those levels, climb back out. Now they use it as a vertical inspection gallery. Did I give you a point? That about once every 5 years. Based on those core samples, we know the dam's still curing. You ready to go show them some stuff? All right, we got an affirmative. Let's go. All right, so about 10 feet past the elevator, you're going to see circular anomalies. That's where they pull the brass clamps up here. Yeah.
There's some maintenance going on.
Yeah. Updated maintenance. Down right. Now, just under 21,000 people worked on this dam, of which 200 were engineers. I'll tell you what they didn't have. IBM. Texas Instruments. What they did have, pencil, paper, slide rule, their imagination. When they ran out of paper, they used the inside of the structure. Yeah, this is our demoglyphics. Come on, Albert, that was funny. Help me out there. Okay, so right here at the light, you're going to see an orange mark. And to the left of it is a hairline fracture. About an inch to the left of it. 0.01 of an inch, 6/15, 1942. Okay, I was holding this light for us. 7/23/1940. Look at it in relation to 0 plus 10. I will tie that in a minute. And that's how you get rid of the kids on your tour. We're going to talk about this measuring device here real quick. Come on over here. Right, this is the single size. Here you go, guys. Did I take a picture?
Oh, I see it.
Thank you, Alva.
Thank you.
So helpful.
All right, so Miss Alba held that light at 975, 0 plus 14. So this is very important. When they found these anomalies, they needed a means to log them. So 975 identifies the gallery level. Stay on the left side, folks, so everyone can see. So 975 identifies the gallery level. Oh, they lettered the blocks alphabetically. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, from Arizona to Nevada. This block's O, this one's P, next one is Q. If you look behind you, you saw 0 plus 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Those are all surveyed in to tell you how many feet you are beyond the scene. Alba, you are so awesome. You didn't even blind me. I had coins made to thank you, kids. Give her a round of applause. So those are all surveyed in to tell you how many feet you are beyond that scene. So at 975, block O, 14 feet in. Crack identified 7/23/1940. They would log it. Any subsequent inspections or earthquakes greater than 3.0 or larger would trigger an automatic inspection. They'd come in and revisit that location to see if the crack had grown and compromise the integrity of the concrete. And we're here almost 84 years later and it still has not. Wow. Okay? Now at OP, these are the measuring devices. And I stopped at this one because it has a bar. You'll notice most of them have the bolts. Now the bolts, they put pin marks in the bolts. They measured those pin marks with calipers, base measurement. Bar, fixed on block P with 2 bolts. You have an overlap, but you have a gap between the block and the bar. They measured that gap, base measurement. Any subsequent inspections or earthquakes greater than
3.0.
bingo, would trigger an automatic inspection. If there is variance in the bolts, that's an indicator they're shifting left to right. If there's a variance in a bar, indicator they're shifting forward to back. That's what 30s and 40s technology looked like. And believe it or not, some of the dams in the Midwest still use this technology today. Yes, absolutely. Calcium carbonate's the same white you saw, but if it's on the face of the dam, on the front side, that means it's usually coming from rain. If it's on the back side, that means it's coming from the lake.
I think Brandon.
This is visitors.
You got a pen?
I left them walk out.
Now, when you get to this corner, you're going to see a box. This is our size book. Stairway to heaven. Stairway the other way. Stay on the right side. When you get done, come on out on your right.
No, what was this here?
Do not kick that box.
Oh, okay.
Because there is a camera and it's wide angle.
Oh.
Wide angle.
Okay.
Like, okay, I don't
They
think
will
it-
give you the extended tour if you kick that
Yeah,
box.
we don't want that.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
All right, if you're at the bottom of the dam and both elevators go out, there's about 717 steps of pure pleasure to get out. Hoover Dam Stairmaster.
Where's the tow rope?
Oh, I didn't have one when I did it, but man, I'll tell you, it's fun. Did you get your point? Did you got one, right? And there you go. Make sure the kids get one. All right, so the upstairs are original, the downstairs are not original. Now the trough on the right, that's how they capture the seepage. At this level, we put wood in there so that we could be wheelchair accessible on this tour. And it used to release the water right on the stairs. Now they have since fixed that. But in the late 60s, early 70s, they had to replace the stairs because it compromised the integrity of the stairs. By that time, OSHA had come into play, our favorite four-letter government agency. Yeah, they required some changes. So look at the difference between the upstairs and the downstairs. Now, how many people died building Hoover Dam?
96.
96 construction-related fatalities. Now, if they were overcome by the heat or carbon monoxide, they were off property when they died, pneumonia. Okay? So yeah, it was not a worker-friendly environment, folks.
Right?
Go on down, guys.
Yes.
Go on down.
Not
And then you folks, make sure you look at this.
Oh my God.
Now, this picture behind me, you're going to see this as you pass it. These poles used to sit behind that panel. Those poles were tethered to a cylindrical device and sat inside the concrete. You see that there? Okay. Now, perfect. That's one up. Now, the poles were tethered to a cylindrical device and sat inside the concrete. And it looked just like my flashlight, but it was a sensor. And there were three different types of sensors. One took temperature, one took stress, or strain, one took pressure. I didn't know anything about this until I heard about it, but this technology is used to this day. But this was the first time it was ever used on any concrete structure. It's a Carlson meter. The guy developed it. His name was Carlson. Yeah, about that. Yeah, it's very novel. Yeah, he was an MIT instructor in mathematics. He was quite brilliant, and using those measurements, he could determine. That's fine, folks. Using those measurements, he could determine when the block was going to be hard enough to build on top of it. Now, why was that important? If you ask me when it was hard enough, I say 72 hours. That was universal. But not every block was universally the same size. Not every block was placed in June, July, August, some in December, January, February. So some would naturally harden faster than others. So if he can narrow that scope to 48 hours, game changer. Yeah, now you can rapidly build a dam. This dam was completed in less than 2 years. Unprecedented for its size and scope. The dam, the whole structure, the whole project was completed 2 years ahead of schedule. Actually 26 months ahead of schedule. Dare I say it was the last government project got ahead of schedule on the project, yeah. We laugh about that 80 years later, that's crazy. Frank Crow, the superintendent of engineers, earned a $350,000 bonus. About $7 million by today's money. Living the American dream. He was Canadian. And usually I get the Canadians on this tour and they're like, "You're welcome." Yeah, so that's how they roll. But yeah, it was just quite an amazing feat all the way around. Hey, you guys were an awesome group. We're going to get you out of here. Make sure you're with your friends and family. First half will go out with RC, second half will go out with me. Thanks. Have a wonderful day at Disney.
Thank you.
Exit out the vestibule, you'll turn to the left. You'll see the Hoover Dam with 1931 to 1935 on there. It'll be a seal of reclamation. That's the building.
Okay.
It's the original exhibit building. Your ticket will get you in there. And that building was the building that's kind of supplemented the tours that were being conducted here from 1937 and June 1995 when they built that new visitor center.
Can you remind us of the cost?
48.89 million, but that was what 6 companies got paid. Now subcontractors like Babcock and Wilcox built all the pinstock pipes. They got 10 million to do that. Parts and services came from all over the United States. I told you when you came over what some of your states contribute. That was just a fraction of what those states, I just remembered 1 or 2 items from every state. But they bought products and services from all over the United States so that the government or 6 companies could not use logistics as an excuse not to meet their benchmarks. So the government took that out of 6 companies' hands and brought it in so they could artificially inseminate money into the economy during the Great Depression. Come on in, folks. We have to stay compliant here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Want to drive?
Oh, yeah.
Going up.
You're driving the Hoover Uber. On behalf of Air Reclamation, thanks for joining us. We know you have a choice in hydroelectric power plants. So glad you selected ours. When these doors open, get out. Have a wonderful day, guys.
Thank you.
No. Yeah, they used to go down to the floor, but they don't do that anymore because of 9/11.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.
You bet. Take care, folks. Have a wonderful day. Original exhibit building's right there.
Ooh.
他要回去了，回去嘛。我不让，太棒。
It's the spill. When it gets too full, they use the spillway.
Hard to believe it was full at some point in time.
Hope I don't drop my phone. I don't think diving off there would be a survival, but